Getting ready to start looking for your new home? Not sure what documents your lender will need to review before issuing a pre-approval? The actual documents needed will depend on your current situation. So things like being self-employed or whether you own additional properties will change the documentation requirements and add things that we need. But this is a great starting point for most people. So if you're a W-2 employee, we will need your pay stubs from the most recent 30 days and your W-2s, not the tax returns, just the year-end W-2 that your employer gives you for the last 2 years. If there were multiple employers during this time, we need both sets of W-2s or multiple W-2s if there's, second jobs and whatnot. We need to basically cover a full 24-month employment history. So any employers you've had during that time, we need to document. And we also need to know if there are any gaps in employment during that time. That would mean we'd have to go back a little bit further in dates to come up with a full 2-year work history or school history. If you were just out of school, that will count as well. For a W-2 employee who earns variable comp like bonus or commissions, we may also want to get your year-end pay stubs for the most recent 2 years to make sure we can document that compensation correctly. Since a W-2 doesn't break down the income, it just shows your total income earned for the year. Now, if you are a 1099 employee or you own your own business, we would then most likely need the last 2 years' federal tax returns, both personal and if you own at least 25% of the business tax returns also. Any 1099s or K-1s issued over the last 2 years would also be needed. In some cases, we only need 1 year of tax returns, but it's best to assume we'll need both to start off the process. If a borrower owns additional real estate, we will also need to document those costs, mortgages, property taxes, insurance, and any HOA fees. If you also have rental income from a property you own, we would then need the federal taxes for the last 2 years to calculate the rental income we can use, even if you're a W-2 employee for your primary job. For any real estate purchased since the last tax year, we would need a signed lease from the tenant too, as well as the other docs, mortgages, taxes, insurance, HOA fees. If you are retired or you just receive investment interest or dividend income, we would also need tax returns for the last 2 years to calculate this income source. Finally, for all borrowers, we will need to document your assets, either funds for the down payment, closing costs, prepaids, any reserve requirements. For this, we'll need the 2 most recent monthly bank statements, or if they're quarterly statements, the most recent quarter statement. That's really the main things that any underwriter is going to look for and any loan officer is going to require for a pre-approval. If you have a lender that's not asking you for these documents and just issuing a pre-approval without, that's a big red flag and means they really haven't issued a pre-approval. They're just taking your word on all the documentation, and you could be in for a surprise when you actually get into underwriting when you have a signed contract. So that's a big no-no too. We always review all of this documentation up front to avoid any surprises during the process. The last thing you want is a phone call from me 3 weeks into the process when you're in contract and about to close in a couple weeks and telling you, sorry, I know I thought we were good to go, but we reviewed the income on your tax returns and it's actually a lot less than what you thought and you no longer qualify. Sorry. So yeah, you don't want that. So provide those documents up front to your lender. Hopefully it's me, and I will give you a rock solid pre-approval so there's no surprises and we can close without any issues when you find that home. If you have any questions about this or the process or what might be needed, if you have something unique like a divorce, we would need a divorce decree or a support agreement. If you've had a previous foreclosure or bankruptcy, we're going to probably need to document that too, depending on when it was. So there's things that apply, but don't apply to everyone. So I didn't want to, list it all. But if you have questions, reach out. I'm here to help, and have a terrific day. Thank you.